Hello, Jeffrey. It's nearly 50 years since we met. And since this is just a 2-minute video, I'm going to recall just one or two highlights. The first time I met you, and you probably don't remember this, was at George Moss's home in Madison. And George, being George, introduced me to you and said, "Oh, Steve, Jeffrey is working on Nazi engineers." And I thought to myself, what a boring subject. Why is he working on Nazi engineers? Of course, like George, he was only half right. And what you went on to do in that book was to create a concept which has become standard and classical in all the historiography, the notion of reactionary modernism, in which not just engineers, but thinkers and planners and all the people who also made Nazism into a modern project and not simply into a right-wing reactionary project. And that, you've shown us, was part of its power. That, I suppose, is the most important thing. And since then, you've gone on to massive amounts of scholarship. And of course, the amazing thing is I live in Jerusalem, but if anybody is more Zionist than me, it's you, Jeffrey. And that too has put you in sometimes in not such an easy place. However, your biggest achievement, and I will end with this, is the fact that you have managed to be married to one of the most wonderful women in the world, lovely Sonia, and you've made a beautiful family, a productive, artistic, and historical family. So, best of luck to you, and we hope to have many more meetings. Love from Hannah, Steve.
Hello, Jeff. It's Richard Evans from Cambridge here, and I was very happy to respond to a request from your students to send a message. I'm very sorry I can't be there myself, but I'm a very long way away from you. And it was great when I was able to go to your seminar in Maryland in 2018 when I was a visiting professor at University of Richmond. It was great fun. I really enjoyed meeting your grad students and talking to you and having an interesting discussion. I guess the two books of yours that have influenced me most have been Reactionary Modernism, which is a concept I found really helpful in trying to understand the Nazis, and gets across this endless debate about whether they wanted to turn the clock back or push it forward. And The Jewish Enemy, which is a huge help when I was trying to understand anti-Semitism. I've also, of course, been influenced by your work on Holocaust denial, in which I was involved a long time ago now, in the year 2000, in the Lipstadt Irving trial in London as an expert witness. You've retired. You're something like 6 months older than I am, I think, and I retired because you have to in Great Britain or in Cambridge at the age of 67. So you've soldiered on, but you haven't soldiered on beyond the point where it would have been wise to go. So I'm sure you've made the right choice. You probably already found out that retirement just means not less work or putting your feet up, but a kind of shake up in the kind of work you do, and when you do it, and more command over what time and what time you spend in it and how long you can work for in any one project. So happy retirement or non-retirement, as we older scholars know, and it's a great pleasure to be able to pass on your greetings. Thank you very much.
Lieber Jeffrey, von den vielen Talenten, die du besitzt, hätte ich heute gerne eines, nämlich deine offenkundige Fähigkeit, schnell zu schreiben. Hätte ich diese Fähigkeit, dann wäre ich nämlich in Maryland dabei, um dich zu feiern und müsste mich nicht digital zuschalten lassen. Immerhin, jetzt kann ich sagen, dass eines der Themen, das wir in den 90er Jahren beide schon einmal behandelt haben Und dazwischen hast du ganz viele andere Dinge gemacht. Ich bin mehr oder weniger bei diesen Themen geblieben und es beschäftigt mich jetzt wieder und es wird dich auch interessieren, denn es geht um das, was du in deinem großen Buch Divided Memory analysiert hast, den Umgang der Deutschen in der frühen Nachkriegszeit, insbesondere eben auch der politischen Eliten mit der NS-Vergangenheit. Darum kümmere ich mich jetzt gerade wieder mit Theodor Heuss, einem deiner damaligen Protagonisten. Und das hat mich in den letzten Monaten vielfach an dich denken lassen, aber natürlich auch unsere gemeinsame Zeit am Center for European Studies. Und aus dieser Zeit kommt eine Bemerkung, die Margit neulich machte, als sie nämlich das kleine Kochbuch Food for Thought aufgeblättert hat, um ein Rezept nachzuschlagen. Und da entdeckte sie wieder, dass so viele Rezepte auch von Sonja dabei sind. Und so möchte ich sagen, nachdem wir uns in den letzten Jahren, obwohl wir uns viel und intensiv in Washington und Jena und in Maryland ausgetauscht haben, aber nachdem wir uns in den letzten Jahren eher wenig gesehen haben, vielleicht können wir jetzt, wo wir vielleicht alle 4 bald pensioniert sind, einmal gemeinsam kochen, nach unserem gemeinsamen Kochbuch Food for Thought. Das wäre doch ein schönes Vorhaben für die kommende Zeit, neben all den intellektuellen Dingen, die natürlich weiter anstehen und für die ich dir ein glückliches und weiterhin schnelles Händchen wünsche. In diesem Sinne alles Gute, genieße den Tag, lass dich feiern und ein Gruß in die Runde von Margit und von mir. Und alles Gute natürlich auch an Sonja.
Dear Jeff, I know you're not the retiring kind, so I'm just going to wish you lots of fun and joy and interesting things as you read and write and teach even, and who knows, maybe even start to paint in this next phase, the next adventure of your life. All the very, very best as you move on.
Hi, Jeffrey. It's a pleasure and a privilege to join with other friends and colleagues to celebrate your achievements as you retire from your academic post and to send all best wishes for the future. We go back a long way. I've just calculated, and it was almost 30 years ago when we met in Princeton. You and Sonia were there. You were writing Divided Memory. Michelle and I came from Ireland, from Dublin, with our 2 children. I was working on German atrocities. It was a wonderful year. I still have warm memories of so many walks and conversations, barbecues, Nadia's bat mitzvah, and conversations which haven't ceased since. Your other stellar books have followed down to the very recent Israel's Moment. There have been visits by both of you to Dublin, by us to Silver Spring. And all I can say is that it's been a stellar career. It's been a pleasure knowing you during this period. And speaking as somebody who's preceded you into retirement, all the things which you've been doing in the past will, I'm absolutely confident, continue to happen into the future. That's to say, more great books, more travel, and I really hope lots more conversations with you and Sonia. Michelle joins me in sending you every best wish on this occasion.
Lieber Jeffrey Herf, ich freue mich sehr, dass heute so viele Freunde und Kollegen zusammenkommen, um dich zu feiern. Als du mir zum ersten Mal erzählt hast, dass du jetzt aufhörst, an der Universität zu unterrichten, da war ich etwas skeptisch. Kannst du überhaupt leben, arbeiten, sein, ohne Studenten zu begleiten und zu fördern? Ich war, nachdem wir uns kennengelernt haben, 1998, nach der Veröffentlichung von Divided Memory, war ich immer sehr neidisch auf deine Studenten. Was für einen tollen Professor, der solche sehr guten Studien, anregenden Studien geschrieben hat, hatten Sie da als Begleiter, als Professor, als Lehrer. Also ich kann mir vorstellen, dass Sie dich vermissen werden. Aber ich weiß natürlich, akademische Lehre kann auch eine Last sein und sie raubt Zeit, die man eigentlich verwenden sollte für seine Liebsten, für weitere Forschungen und so weiter. Also ich kann dich schon verstehen. Ich möchte dir für deine Bücher, die du geschrieben hast, danken, insbesondere natürlich für Divided Memory und für Unjust Wars Against Israel, weil sie beide Themen behandeln, an denen ich auch forsche. Die haben mich sehr interessiert, aber auch deine anderen Studien fand ich sehr, sehr anregend. Ich brauchte eine Zeit, bis ich verstanden habe, dass du ja ein Forscher zur Geschichte und zur aktuellen Bedeutung von Antisemitismus bist. Das ist alles sehr anregend und wichtig und ganz ausgezeichnet. Es ist wundervoll, dass ich dich kennengelernt habe und deine Bücher kennengelernt habe. Das ist alles sehr, sehr anregend. Aber es ist nicht nur anregend, du bist ja nicht nur ein Mensch, der über Antisemitismus forscht, der sich aber auch als Akademiker nicht zu schade ist, politisch zu intervenieren und politisches Campaigning mit zu betreiben. Und du warst ja deswegen auch nie zu schade, die wundervolle, von unserer gemeinsamen Freundin aufgebaute Amadeo Antonio Stiftung zu unterstützen und alles dafür zu tun, dass ihre Arbeit, da geht es ja um Förderung demokratischer Kultur, da geht es um Zurückweisung des völkischen Nationalismus, da geht es um Zurückweisung von Rassismus und Antisemitismus, das zu unterstützen und zu fördern. Auch dafür danke ich dir sehr. Kurz gesagt, ich bewundere dich sehr. Ich danke dir für deine tollen Anregungen. Ich danke dir für deine wundervolle Unterstützung bei der Förderung von demokratischer Kultur, nicht nur in der Bundesrepublik, sondern auf unserem ganzen Planeten. Du bist ein wundervoller Mensch. Ich wünsche dir ein langes, glückliches Leben. Alles Gute, Mazel Tov.
Hi, Jeff. This is Jack James in Washington. I'm so glad to be part of the opportunity to congratulate you on the occasion of this symposium, but also beyond the individual event that's giving you so much deserved recognition. I have a very favorite citation that I use, which is simply to say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and you've appeared for so many years in front of so many people, including myself. And I can only say that I'm enormously grateful to you for all that you've done, for all of the cohorts and friends here in Washington, but well beyond that. So once again, congratulations for a well-deserved recognition, and I look forward to seeing you back in Washington for continued dialogue and friendship. Best wishes to you, Jeff.
Lieber Jeffrey, das erste Mal haben wir uns gesehen bei der Antisemitismus-Tagung der Grünen in der Heinrich-Böll-Stiftung. Du wirst dich vielleicht erinnern. Ich stand da und habe in deinem Bücherregal gestöbert und du standst neben mir und hast geschimpft. Du hast gesagt, es hat überhaupt noch nie jemand über die Erinnerung an die Shoah in der DDR geschrieben. Ich war so ein kleines bisschen innerlich empört, weil ich hatte gerade mein Buch rausgegeben, wo ich genau das geschrieben hatte. Und dann habe ich mich umgedreht, habe dich gesehen und da dachte ich, das ist doch der Divided Memory geschrieben hat. Und dann kamen wir ins Gespräch und ich habe mich wahnsinnig gefreut, dich kennenzulernen. Seitdem verbindet uns eine wirklich enge und herzliche Freundschaft. Und du hast mir so viel geholfen. Du hast mich mit Martin und den anderen in diese Wissenschaftskreise reingegeben. Du warst immer solidarisch. Du hast mich immer unterstützt und die Arbeit der Stiftung gewertschätzt. Und dafür bin ich wahnsinnig dankbar. Und ich freue mich wahnsinnig, dass ich deine Freundin sein darf und dass du immer Teil meines Lebens sein wirst. Weil ich habe dich wirklich sehr, sehr gern und es ist wirklich ein großer Segen für mich, dass ich dich damals getroffen habe, wenngleich du etwas murrig warst. Aber deswegen bin ich heute umso glücklicher, dass ich virtuell dabei sein kann bei deiner Emeritierung. Ich hoffe, wir sehen uns bald wieder, wahrscheinlich eher, wenn du nach Deutschland kommst. Und ich hoffe, dass uns noch viel Zeit bleibt für interessante Gespräche und Gedanken und auch mal einen Streit. Bis bald.
Congratulations to Jeff on his retirement after an unusual and very successful career. Jeff did not take a conventional path in the academy, and it's a tribute to his perseverance, talent, and intellectual honesty and integrity that he has achieved the distinction he has. As a department chair who hired Jeff as a visiting professor in political science at Emory University, I saw firsthand how his wide-ranging intellectual interests confounded traditional disciplinary boundaries. With a PhD in sociology and books in history, my colleagues in political science balked at hiring Jeff for a permanent position in the political science department. To its credit, the Maryland History Department was able to transcend this narrow perspective and enabled Jeff to make the important intellectual contributions he has. Jeff, congratulations on a terrific career, and I know that your intellectual work is not yet done.
Hi, Jeffrey. Here's Jürgen, speaking from Berlin. I won't be at the symposium, which will take place at your honor, and after you retired recently. But I'm glad to have the opportunity to send you my best wishes at this occasion. We have known each other for quite a while, met again and again on both sides of the Atlantic, exchanged views, became friends. And of course, I knew already your path-breaking book on reactionary modernism since the 80s. We exchanged memory of George Mossy when we met. And when you stayed at the academy, at the American Academy in Berlin, I believe in 2007 or so, we met more regularly. And the last time we met, when you spoke at the Deutsch-Israelische Gesellschaft here in Berlin about 2 years ago or so. We have shared many academic interests, and we have shared and we are sharing many political concerns, topics of common interest, particularly with respect to German history. We differed in some respects, for instance, as far as your thesis on the anti-Semitism of the political left was concerned. But I have to say that in recent years, I moved closer to your position than I used to be. I want to thank you for a long period of academic collegiality and friendship. I profited a lot from your knowledge and your ideas. Yes, I admire you as a scholar and as a person. I admire the unity between your academic work, your sometimes passionate your sometimes passionate political engagement, and your personal commitment, both morally and politically. Now you have retired. You are, I think, 6 years younger than me. I'm sure you will have a fruitful and interesting period of life and work ahead of you. I wish you all the best for that. My best regards also to Sonja. Take care. All the best from Berlin. Hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.
This is a message from Ludger Kühnert, Bonn University, for Professor Jeffrey Herf. Dear Jeff, my friend, ever since we met for the first time in the cozy old building of the Center for European Studies at Harvard University in 1983, we stayed in constant communication as friends and colleagues. At that time, 40 years back, you were preparing your fascinating dissertation, Reactionary Modernism, for publication. I was immediately struck by the inspiring perspective of your scholarship. You have no idea how often I quoted your work. I did so in German discussions on the Nazi past and the legacy of totalitarianism. I did so when walking the streets of Moscow with my dear mentor Karl Dietrich Bracher in 1999. You cherished Bracher also a lot, and you will appreciate that at that time we discussed the situation in Moscow comparable to something what we called Weimar at the Moskva. We saw fancy cars and modern gadgets and yet a decaying political system. Putin and the secret services were waiting behind the corner to take over power very soon. This was a new, and still is, a new and dangerous form of reactionary modernism. I quoted your work in several articles right after 9/11, when many colleagues were still struggling to find the right words to describe this new form of Islamic totalitarianism, bombing us back into the Middle Ages by destroying skyscrapers with the help of modern aircrafts. That was another variant of reactionary modernism. I quoted your work in the midst of a very heated debate in Africa a couple of years ago, when an Islamic politician from the Sahel zone tried to convince me that reactionary Sharia law and the use of modern social media would go hand in hand perfectly well. I thought and told him that this is a new and dangerous form of reactionary modernism. Jeff, you have never been a Cassandra, but always a beacon of enlightenment. You inspired many, and you were also my teacher. You were the pundit who had always read more than anybody else, and were earlier than others in telling what should be studied and researched next. Your inspiring intellectual leadership is unparalleled. Your voice needs to be heard for many generations to come. Jeff, we engaged very often in correspondence by way of writing long and lengthy letters, and I hope that this tool of civilization will prevail also in new generations to come. But I must recall that you were also the first to introduce me to email as a new and easy tool of communication. I was skeptical at the time because I thought email would never match the aesthetics of a formal letter with a nice letterhead. When in 2000 I wrote my first email, of course I sent it to you and thanked you for introducing me to this form of liberalizing modernism. Jeff, your intellectual leadership, your inspiring scholarship, and first and foremost, your unwavering friendship, your and Sonja's unwavering transatlantic friendship are a backbone of my own happiness, and I wish you well in the years and ages to come, which lie ahead of you after the University of Maryland. Distinguished you are, and distinguished you will always be. Thank you for everything, my dear friend. Stay well.
Hallo Jeffrey, wir sind gerade in einem Hotel in Weimar. Rosi filmt mich und ich will diese Worte, weil ich ja noch später ein Buch von dir vorstellen darf, ganz persönlich halten. Ich freue mich und bin stolz darauf, einen so bedeutenden Historiker wie dich, einen so energischen Public Intellectual wie dich und einen so wundervollen Menschen wie dich zum Freund zu haben. Ich denke gerne zurück an die vielen Stunden, die wir zusammen verbrachten in Rheinfeld, oftmals auch zusammen mit Sonja, von der wir 3 Bilder in der Küche hängen haben, und wo wir diskutiert hatten von morgens bis abends über Politik. Manchmal in den Kneipen, manchmal über Zoom, aber es war immer interessant und spannend und freundschaftlich. Ich hoffe, dass es euch beiden noch lange, lange gut gehen wird, dass ihr weiter kreativ bleibt und dass wir uns häufig begegnen. Nicht nur per Zoom, sondern auch persönlich. Alles Gute für die kommenden Lebensjahre. Mach's gut, Jeffrey. Bis dann. Tschüss.
Hi, Jeff. Greetings from Berlin, a city you know so well. It is for me a great pleasure to take part in honoring you on your retirement from the university. But of course, while you're retiring from the university, you won't be retiring from our common subject, the study of the Holocaust, anti-Semitism, Israel. I read with great delight your continued output of essays and comments that I receive regularly in your Rundbrief, and I'm always inspired by your sagacity. And in fact, ever since we first met in Dublin all those years ago, and then embarked upon our own common project together. Jeff, you have demonstrated already that the word retirement has no place in your vocabulary. And of course, in a few days' time, you're going to be 75. Amazing. Can't really imagine it. So here's to good health, to many more happy years with Sonia, your family, with friends and colleagues. And with that, I look forward to our next get-together here in Berlin. But meanwhile, Prost, alles Gute, mein Freund, gute Gesundheit und weiteres Leben. Tschüss.
Hello, Jeff from Bilniven in Nottingham. I hope you're having a great day, whatever you're doing today. And I just wanted to say that, well, you've always been a role model for me. You were since I started my work, and you've remained that way, and you always will be. I don't think that I could have done in my research what I did without your research. It was absolutely inspiring and remains inspiring. And I hope you will go on working and writing and producing. I'm sure you will. I think it's in your heart. And I wanted to thank you for your support, particularly over the last 2 or 3 years, and particularly where it comes to finding the courage to say things where one might feel one doesn't have that courage. And that was important to me. I hope you enjoy your retirement, but I also still hope you go on writing. Take care. Bye.
Hello there, my name is Jenny Wüstenberg, and I am currently a professor of history and memory studies at Nottingham Trent University in the United Kingdom. I first met Professor Herf in, I believe it was 2003 or 4, when I took his graduate seminar in European history, even though I was getting a PhD in government and politics. And not only did I learn so much in that seminar about, of course, about European history, but also about rigorous scholarship and about clear academic writing. But I think it really set me on a path to interdisciplinary scholarship. And after all, I am today a professor in the history department, even though I'm a trained political scientist. Jeffrey was then a crucial member of my dissertation committee. And since then, we've kept in touch and checked in over the years. And of course, for me, Jeffrey's work was extremely influential. It's influential, I think, very broadly in memory studies, and in particular, his book on divided memory really helped sort of hone our understanding of the relationship between democracy, justice, and collective memory, not just in Germany, but far beyond that. Dear Jeff, I wish you all the very best for your retirement, though I have no doubt that you will continue to engage in scholarship and that you will continue to intervene in debates that we're all having. And I hope you have a wonderful celebration. I wish I was there with you today, but best wishes from across the pond.